And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here. We would love to educate, entertain, enlighten, and engage with you every day as your consumer advocate. Reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372. We're going to help you in all areas of business and finance, real estate, credit, and lots of ways that we can help you as your consumer advocate. We want to be that super connector for you right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we do that by bringing in the absolute best expert contributors from all areas of Tampa Bay. And it's all about helping you, centered around you, our radio family, our TV show family out there. Maybe you're watching us on Apple, Amazon, Roku, WeBeam TV. Also, right here at 4 o'clock drive time, AM 860 The Answer. Got a weekend show on FM 102.5 The Bone as well. And this segment is brought to you by Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Two Maids and a Mop right here in Clearwater. Reach out to Tabitha and her team. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. They offer safe, reliable, professional grade cleaning, and they also have a pay for performance plan. Reach out to Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you and take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the show. All right, let's go to Clyde Smith, General Manager, Bilmar Beach Resort, giving us our beach update. What's happening, Clyde? How you doing, sir?
Brandon, I'm doing fantastic. Hope you are.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Out the Memorial Day weekend and had a wonderful time. The hotel did fill up, and our restaurants were busy, which was fun for everybody. But the best news is everyone followed all the cleaning protocols and the distancing and everything that you would hope they would do as people start getting out a little bit more. So we were really thrilled with that. We are still at limited seating over in Sloppy Joe's, but with all our big outdoor decks there, it worked out just fine.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love going over to the Treasure Island, Florida. Just beautiful. You're coming over the bridge. You're looking off to the left and right, just checking out the tropical scenes, and then you land on site, and it's newly renovated Bilmar Beach Resort, beautifully renovated. 2 pools on site, Sloppy Joe's Beach Bar and Restaurant, and lots of recreation to do as well. Clyde, talk to us about some of the recreational options.
Well, all of our guests that come in do get an hour of paddleboard or kayak every day. There's also other equipment that's available, down there. If you want to take a few kayaks out, you can rent the extra equipment from Turbo, fantastic guy that works for the beach service down there. We've got some new bicycles in our fleet, so those have been real popular. People have been taking them all the way up to John's Pass, if you can pedal over that bridge, and down to Sunset Beach, which is kind of a neat little area of Treasure Island. We added some real fun recreation in the beachfront cafe. Since your last stay, we've added a ping pong table in the cafe. We have cornhole. We're actually under a covered, misted area. So as the summer heat comes, you can still have some great time with the family. And added a pool table to the cafe. So we're real excited about that. You mentioned the 2 pools, and we also have the 4,000 square foot sun deck, which that was really invaluable this weekend because we are limiting how many people and how close they can get at the pool areas. So that 4,000 square foot sun deck and all the beach chairs out behind us really get people that space that they're looking for. It's worked out fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. What's the overall vibe over there on the beach? You're feeling some folks coming down from up north, kind of getting out of that northern climate, coming down and enjoying time. What are you seeing amongst both the tourists and also the other business owners?
Yeah, we primarily have seen more of a staycation kind of a crowd. There are a few people coming from up north now that Legion Airlines fully back up and running into St. Pete Clearwater Airport. But a lot of our visitors this weekend were from the area, drive-in market, Orlando, Lakeland, just some people like that. A few of our northern friends are waiting just a little longer before they're going to travel down. June, July, we're starting to get a lot of calls for that period. Obviously, 4th of July is our next big one on our radar. Looking forward to that. What guests are really enjoying is we've got some great Florida resident rates out there right now, and I think that added to the staycation. We lowered some of our rates just to get the stimulus going and get people out. And they're also appreciating, what's being done. I think the people in the restaurants and the stores around here have been very respectful of each other. And that's real important. Their employees are leading the way with that. Every employee, when they came back after our reopening, was trained specifically on newer safety cleaning protocols. And so far, they've been doing a great job of it.
I love just when I walk out, I stay down there on occasion with you guys, of course, and enjoy the resort. And one of the favorite things I love is to just wake up in the morning, open back the curtains, and then you look out and you've got 90% of your rooms that look out over the beach. But I prefer the one on the ground floor level. I slide open the slider, I step out, there's one sidewalk, and then I'm right there in the sugar sands.
Yeah, the beach walkouts are really a popular room type. We've got them in the 3-story building with our premium rooms, and there's the traditional walkouts. That's just a really nice room, especially for a shorter stay. You've got the 2 queen beds. Every single room has microwave and refrigerator, but of course the studios also have a kitchenette, so people can get up, make a little breakfast if you choose to, or go have breakfast at Sloppy Joe's and enjoy that beautiful view of Treasure Island Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
There's plenty of room out there. As I joked with you before, we call it the 2-beer beach because it's a little bit of a walk down to that water's edge, but it's really enjoyable because once you're down there, you don't hear the pools and the people. You just hear the water lapping up. It's really nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great time to get away, and I think now more than ever, people need that little vacation. They need to get away, and I'm glad to see our governors opened us up back up, and it seems like we're kind of peeking out the far side of this thing. Doesn't it feel like that, Clyde?
It does. I do agree with the phased reopening just so people can get used to new things a little bit. But I think it's going to be a good summer for everybody. And I think you'll see a little bit more reopen, maybe after 4th of July. They'll bring seating back to normal because it is tough for some of the restaurants that aren't as large as Sloppy Joe's, to provide the seating they need to bring back all their staff. So we look forward to that. But again, I think it's good to do it slowly just so everyone's used to what they need to do. And vast majority of people are doing all the right things. We've been very happy with the results we've seen.
Yeah, and one of the things that I like to do when I go on the beach as well is I'll get up earlier and kind of hit that beach and do a nice jog on the beach there, walk, jog, and then do some push-ups. And then you also have a fitness center, so I've gone in there and also got in some weight training in the fitness center as well.
Yeah, the fitness center, we are limiting the access to that just to a couple of people at a time, but that's usually not a problem. The early risers will get in there. But we have that new Peloton bike that's been really popular. People get used to their routine that they do at home and not lose that when they come out. And, of course, we have the mile-long beach trail behind us that's real fun. It takes you back behind some of the mid-century architecture of some of the original motels, like the Sands, which is the original motel on Treasure Island.
Right.
And that's kind of fun to see what the people have done with the buildings. They're all in really good shape. And Treasure Island, the city of Treasure Island, has been really helpful through all of this also, giving us the support we need and, steering us through it a little bit. And it's been a really nice community feel.
Yep, and you also in the evening it's such a cool feel back there as well because the lights come on. The evening it's kind of settled. You got the kids out there playing with the different kites or those little contraptions. You see them shoot up now with the little like a light, the UV
like
light,
a whirly bird kind of thing.
Yeah, those are pretty neat. So hang out by the fire pits, drink a beverage, watch the kids play. What a great living right there.
Yeah, we got all the games down by Sloppy Joe's, the giant beer pong that you use soccer balls with, and more cornhole down there, and a couple of other games. So there's keep busy the whole time, or you can sit down and do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Treasure Island.
That's awesome. And with listeners to our show calling in, if they just mention the Consumer Quarterback Show, they call and book directly with you. That's the best thing to do, correct?
It really is. It's great to book directly for a couple of reasons. Usually almost every hotel, but certainly here at the Bilmar, we do pass on the very best values to direct bookers. But also we can talk to you about really what your goals are. We do have several different room types, almost all of them beachfront, but sometimes people want the larger poolside rooms too, or rooms that connect, or a suite. So we can just ask them, what are you doing? How many people are you bringing? And really steer them to the best experience. It doesn't always mean the most expensive. Sometimes it is just that traditional room because they're going to be spending their time at the beach. But other times they may have, children and they want the larger room or the, ability to make some meals in their kitchenette. So we can help them do that and make sure that they also understand about any restrictions that are going on, limited pools or anything. But most of that's been lifted, so everyone's having a really good time.
Yep, awesome. Well, hey, good stuff. We appreciate you hanging out with us here, Clyde. And parting words of wisdom from you.
Parting words, just carry on and have fun.
There you go. Go visit our friends over at Sloppy Joe's on the beach, Treasure Island, the Bilmar Beach Resort. Longtime friends of the program. Have a good time. Say hello to Clyde. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you and take him up on those offers that he just mentioned. Lots of great things you can do over there. Well, we appreciate you calling in, Clyde.
Thank you very much. You have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
All right, my friend. Well, awesome opportunity to go hang out Treasure Island, Florida, right there, local staycation, and even businesses can go and take conventions at some point. We're going to be opening up past COVID-19. Once we get past that, they got the hashtag for social. Bill Marvelous is their hashtag, Bill Marvelous. So enjoy going over there. Thoroughly enjoy going over to the Bilmar Beach Resort, hanging out on the weekends. So when we come back, we're going to have more of our expert contributors. We're going to speak with attorney Jason Kobal. He is the owner of Kobal Law, and we're going to talk about work comp, some of the different law changes and things happening in that space. Also, a lot of the attorneys on our show have been talking about using virtual juries, virtual court bench trials as well, and of course depositions. How's this virtual world affecting the law profession? We'll talk with attorney Jason Kobal on that as well. Now, he's a personal injury lawyer. He's also a work comp lawyer, and he kind of covers some areas in between there as well with general law as well. So stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, we're going to have some great content for you. Plus, we have a feel-good story of the day. We have Anna Rose becomes first person with Down syndrome to graduate from a university. Stay with us. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
But this is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it's Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with Dancing with the Stars.
62 Who Knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 Who Knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember. Ask me about flooring law.
Yes.
To be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards.
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections for
Battles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
as your super connector. We want to introduce you to our 50-plus show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. Mm-hmm. And even as Sisters Connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, also the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace. That is the goal of our show. And of course, buying, selling, or investing in real estate, we would love to be your local real estate economist of choice. We know the markets, we close a ton of business, and we can help guide you through the process. We've got 15 folks on our team, buyers agents, selling agents, listers. We've got transaction managers, personal assistants, lots of folks that can help you with that process, buying, selling, or investing. Why not work with the best? We're with Keller Williams Realty, the #1 real estate company in the world, and we are at the #1 office for the entire Mid-Florida regional MLS for Hillsborough, Pinellas, Pasco, right here in Tampa Bay. We're based out of Clearwater office. We would love to help you. My wife, Lindsay, is also Feng Shui certified. She does interior design and Feng Shui, and she can help you with home clearing, energy healing, couples healing, meditation workshops, all kinds of great stuff along those lines of Feng Shui and consulting with our business through Feng Shui of Tampa Bay. So I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Helping you win is our goal. And this segment is brought to you by Brothers Easy Moving, the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brothers Easy Moving, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, they are a first-class organization. They do a great job, local or even a long-distance cross-country move. Reach out to Brothers Easy Moving. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we're going to go to Attorney Jason Kobal. We're going to actually come right back to Attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law, and we're going to go to Scott Goss. He's a performance coach right here. And before we do, I want to mention that if you are in the military, you serve, you save. You serve, you save with us. And that's talking about first responders, military, first responders, nurses, doctors, teachers as well. And Scott, kind of leading me into you. You were United States Air Force as well, Staff Sergeant. Is that right?
I was down there at MacDill Air Force Base for a couple years, and actually up in West Virginia for a couple years. I was 8 years total U.S. Air Force.
Nice. Well, thanks for your service, my friend. I appreciate it. Bring us up to speed. What are you up to now? No, we met through the Tony Robbins company's organizations. I did the business mastery course taught in Namale, Fiji. I walked on fire in Orlando, Florida at the convention, and I've been to a few of them after that. I think you've been to almost all of the courses, right? With Tony.
Yeah, I've been to about 30. He's my guru. I've been to many courses with Tony Robbins.
Nice, very cool, man. So that's awesome. So talk about, right now, 40 million people have lost their jobs. A lot of salespeople are in a position where they're used to earning high income. A lot of families have come from a 2-income household to maybe a 1-income household. Record unemployment. What would you say to people to try to say, hey, this too shall pass? What can you give us in terms of motivation and also insights into strategy?
Well, that's a great question, Brandon, because I actually am in the exact same position as many people are today. I had my whole year lined up. I was actually going to speak on many stages here in the U.S., and then COVID came, and then the no events, no speaking. Actually, the company I was going to work with, the company's not there anymore. An event business company, one of the biggest in the world, no longer here. So I am actually with the other, 40 million people that are currently unemployed. And I can tell you exactly what I did. 3 simple steps. Number 1 is, if you're currently unemployed, now is a good time to probably make a list of what are your skill sets? What are you good at? What are some things that you do really well that you can be able to do for another person in another arena, another vertical, another industry? So for example, I know a lot of people. I'm really good at being able to influence sales. I'm really good at being able to present. So myself personally, I actually took my skill set, and I actually took the skill set by learning number 2. Step number 2 as well is once you determine what your skills are, number 2 is how can you be able to take those skills and be able to align yourself or be able to connect with people that can be able to use your skill set. So what I did, I actually connected with a gentleman out here in California that was really being able to run a team in the personal protection space. So the masks, the gloves, the sanitizers. So didn't know anything about the space, but I know a lot of people. I know how to sell. I know how to present. I know how to get to decision makers. I know how to be able to really be able to connect people as well. So I changed my from speaking to personal protection, I changed. So number one, figure out what are your skills. Number two, network with your peer group to be able to find those areas. And number three, I'm doing this as well. Great opportunity to be able to create a skill set today where you can be able to take it for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in your business as well. So I'm creating new skill sets. So you got to be flexible in these times, Brandon. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, finding a skill set. A lot of people say, you heard the question before, and you've heard it in different ways, but what is your number one asset? What's your most valuable asset, right? Some people might say, oh, well, my home on the beach, my beautiful property, my the car, the motorheads say, oh, my 64 whatever car, right? And folks are going to say that. But really, if you think about it, what it is, it's your overall, where you're at now. You know, the 42-year-old version of me is a lot smarter than the 32-year-old version of me, in other words. And when you look at that, your number one asset is your overall cumulative knowledge, skills, and abilities. So worst case scenario played out, the black swan, as some people call it, the unthinkable event of a pandemic here happened. And so you're in that position personally, and you said, okay, let me pivot. Let's get into the personal protection equipment business. I know that I have a skill set. So the overall number one most important thing that you can do is learn and hone in on those best skills, right?
Oh, 100% as well. Yeah, you got to be able to figure out where your skill sets are, and we all have. And it's almost like, how can you connect the dots? So what else I've been doing is I know a lot of people in the coaching space that actually are coaches. I also know a lot of people that actually are looking for coaches that are looking to grow a business. So I've been connecting those people as well. So I have been using as many resources and as many skills as possible to kind of bring people together, connect dots, look for opportunities, get referrals, get affiliates, and just make connections.
Yeah, that's it, man. Because once you do that, then it comes into having time. There's a lot of ideas, but then it comes into taking the time, putting in the right amount of time and resources into making that idea happen. That's one of the challenges I think some people have, is they try to start too many things too many times busy. They're looking at, hey, well, I could make money doing this. Why don't I try some of that? Oh, but I could also make money doing this. Sometimes it's a flashy, gets your attention, but you're not able to execute because you're pulled in too many directions.
Exactly. Well, you have to find that one focus, right? You have to find something that you really have some sort of love or desire for. So me personally, my mother was a nurse for many years, so I'm really connected with nurses and the nursing homes and that experience. So I have a desire to really help. So, you have to have that desire to really help, or that passion in that industry to be able to be successful as well. So, it also comes down, we talked about this before, Brandon, it comes down to the mindset. How can we be able to take our awareness and our mindset from here to be able to expand it to new opportunities? I was on a call yesterday with a good friend of mine, and Jay Abraham, who is, Jay Abraham's known throughout the world as one of the kings of marketing. And he was talking about, in this time today, how can you be able to use, not options, not where you're trading on the stock market options, but you can do options where you're able to use other people's money and have option contracts for business to be able to be resourceful and also be able to bring more value. So there's tons of ways to be able to, be successful in these times. You just got to be able to be open for it.
Wow. So you were talking with Jay Abraham, and he's one of the godfathers in business strategy and marketing. I remember him speaking at Tony's Business Mastery course. So that's pretty cool. So you had some one-on-one time with Jay?
Yeah, pretty amazing. The last week and a couple of days ago. So it was pretty amazing to be listening to this gentleman one-on-one and be able to ask questions and really be able to pick his brain.
Yeah, well, I think he had one of the things that was something like 21 ways to increase revenue, and it was increase number of customers, increase per customer, and he had it broken down into a science of how to really grow a business.
21 ways to get referrals, Brandon. Most people have maybe one referral strategy. Everybody should have at least 3 to 4 referral strategies in their business.
Yeah.
He had 21 ways that he would put into businesses to be able to guarantee referrals.
Yeah.
So, and he was talking, really, the whole conversation was, how can you be able to really open your mind, step out of what you're normally doing, and then also, like, these times, like life in general, is to be flexible. the person that's the most flexibility, the most flexible, in negotiation, the most flexible in sales, the most flexible in business usually wins. You got to be able to change your approach. We were, a quick story. We were working on this deal where I was connecting a hospital from Miami to a buyer out here in LA. And what happened was, we got everybody on the phone, and what killed the deal was two things that come up in business. Emotions, right? Yep. And then lack of flexibility. And a good strategy is when you're actually getting into any transaction and deal, there's two things that I like to look at. And this is something we can use in sales or business or even in life. It is number one, what you want to do when you're being able to create a deal, you want to make sure that both areas, you're able to eliminate friction. What simply means is you're able to make it easy for the parties to be able to come to the table, make it easy for them to be able to transact and eliminate friction by being able to get them what they need on time and make it happen. And number two, you have to be able to be flexible and be able to get the emotions out. So what happened in the whole deal is there was friction, there was conflict, there was emotions, mainly ego, and the deal fell through. So, in these times, we got to be more, not reactive with emotionally, but more
proactive, more
proactive, and also be able to respond better too. So we got to be able to watch those emotions in these times.
All right, good stuff. Scott Goss, thanks for joining us. Peak performance strategist and longtime friend of the program, Scott Goss, on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, we're going to jump on the line with attorney Jason Kobal, talk about some of the latest laws, some of the different changes happening due to COVID, and how the attorneys and judges are dealing with that. Also, talk about the impacts of the distancing and how we're affecting that through Zoom and different types of strategies through law. Stay with us right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. When we come back, more from our expert contributors, and we'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.
All right, this week we're going to talk about something exciting as usual.
We always have something exciting.
Yes, we do.
At least it's exciting to us.
This is a question that comes up.
TV, hey, it is Friday night. We're not here. Yes, we pre-recorded once again because WeBeam TV is working over in Tampa with D'Angelo Star.
62 who knew. I almost said Professional Mortgage Alliance, Joe's Bar and Grill, but actually it's our 39th week. 62 who knew.
We're at the wonderful steampunk event at the Verizon Event Center here in 2019. I think it's still August, right? Yeah. Woo! Can't remember
Ask about
to be able to help businesses to do that part of it. But it's just been a couple of years.
Well, and I've taken the business card files from our business cards and made
Entrepreneurs and professionals of Tampa Bay, welcome to your hour for getting the information, the tools, and the connections
Ian
for
Beckles on Radio Influence.
Or you say left hand white, and then they catch the left hand white. What it does, it helps you quick with hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
Well, that's kind
As your super connector, we want to introduce you to our 50+ show partners. We got over 80 categories of expert contributor advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, and we want to.
That's where we disagree, but that's okay.
I said nonviolent.
That's okay.
Because, we're one of the only states that don't give them back the right. Got Jamie Limbaugh. He is from the Next Step image. I love that image because you were telling me earlier.
For the type of republic we actually are is actually very correct. Yet politicians and regular people use these words interchangeably, even though technically they are very different.
If you're an overdoer, overachiever, people pleaser, we tend to neglect ourselves. And even as sisters connected here, with Women Unscripted, I know
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here. I'm your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Got a couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. Check out 520 George Street South. This is on Lake Tarpon, waterfront beauty. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay. Does need some upgrades, but hey, it's a great property, waterfront. You got your own private dock. You got a mother-in-law suite right here on Lake Tarpon in Tarpon Springs, right around the corner, of course, from Palm Harbor, Florida. 422 Wildwood Way, BELLEAIR. This is a gorgeous home, completely turnkey. The owner just put over $100,000 of upgrades recently into this property at 422 Wildwood Way in BELLEAIR. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Golf Cart Depot. One of our show partners is Marty and his team. They do a great job over at the Golf Cart Depot. They've got Icon electric vehicles available, Clearwater and Land O'Lakes locations. Also have the EasyGo, Star EV, Cushman, pre-owned and remanufactured. And they will bring the golf cart to you. Test drive it at your home today. Reach out to our friends at Golf Cart Depot. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on those special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law. We're coming to us over the phone lines here, Jason, and COVID-19 has thrown our economy into a whirlwind. It's brought up a lot of new scenarios with business owners, landlords, and tenants.
Oh yeah, it's crazy time. That's for sure. And for the law, I've never seen it evolving so quickly. I mean, there's changes happening every day. You really got to stay on top of it to keep up with it all. One problematic situation that I've read about is happening. If you are already in a lease and your landlord approaches you about signing a new lease, you're not required to do that, because what we're seeing is a lot of landlords trying to force their tenants into signing agreements that basically protect the landlord for COVID type, common areas, and basically contractually trying to put the tenants on the hook for any potential problems that may arise from the virus, covering the landlord's butt. But just a little tidbit of advice, you always give great practical advice on the show. If you're already locked in, you're already in a contract for whatever the term is, for a year or whatever, you're not ever forced to sign a new one. So if you're one of the people that is getting approached by a landlord to sign a new agreement, you might want to really look at the fine print as to why they want this done, and just know that you're not required to agree to that.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jason. If you have a lease in place, they cannot change that term. They can't manipulate any part of that lease while you're in place. Now, if you're coming up on a renewal, that might be a situation where you want to start your negotiations early. That way you're not into a last minute, hey, I better sign this or he's going to put my furniture out in the street. Right. Talk to us as well. So it's a very fluid situation here. We're talking with attorney Jason Kobal, local attorney, local business owner, support the local economy is what we talk a lot about here on the show. Talk a little bit about your business model and the types of businesses that you work for, because it's interesting how it starts with a lot of times workers' comp, but then that also leads into personal injury and vice versa.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's funny. I do a couple different areas of law, but really they all stem from one place, which is just injury law. The workers' comp, that's on the job injuries, but sometimes, you could have a comp case where it's a traveling nurse who gets rear-ended. Well, then you got a civil case, the motor vehicle accident against the at-fault party. And then you also have the workers' comp. In that situation, the workers' comp is actually primary. They provide the benefits. And you also have a civil case as well. So those are like a combo case. And then, if the injury is bad enough, those people ultimately might need Social Security disability. And if they receive medical bills during their workers' comp case, that's never supposed to happen. So they might have a fair debt case. So even though I do a couple different areas of law, they all kind of go together and they all revolve around injury law.
Yeah, injury law. And so the cars have slowed down, the auto industry, in terms of on the road. I remember hearing about the AAA report for the holiday season. It was very low number of travelers, but I've seen that ticking back up now that the economy is kind of opening back up, and it does feel like we're kind of coming out on the backside of this whole COVID-19 pandemic. Jason, are you feeling that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very proud of our state, to be honest with you. There was a lot of concern, and, we definitely have a lot of elderly in the state of Florida, and everybody was saying how we were going to be the next New York and the next Italy. And you got to hand it to the governor and the state's attorney's office. We've done really well as far as the numbers, and we're also very gutsy compared to other states as far as reopening business and going forward. Headstrong here. Even though we got to be mindful of the disease, and you got to practice, the social distancing when you can, wear the mask when you're supposed to. But at the same time, the economic downfall, it could be worse than the damage from the virus if we stay closed up too long. So I'm proud of what our state has done. And it is ever changing, like I was talking about earlier, the unemployment laws. I've got a close relative who I'm helping who's on unemployment. And one day we learned that the governor passed a law that an order that you don't have to claim your weeks up and through the end of May. And then all of a sudden she gets an email that, you have to claim your weeks. Well, the state kind of did a 180 on that, but the governor's order is still good through the end of May. So if you had an effective date of any time from March 15th until May 9th, you don't have to claim your weeks until the end of May. And outside of that, though, you have to claim your weeks every other week. So, the law is constantly changing. You kind of have to, if you're getting that benefit from unemployment right now, you kind of almost have to hit Google every day to see if anything else is changing, because it happens fast.
It does. Yeah, very fluid situation. On the topic of unemployment, how did it just happen so to where, because again, the middle income earners, the business owners, the folks in my category, probably your category, we're going to be footing the bill for a lot of these new taxes, or there's got to be some kind of increase in taxes at some point. But you talked about unemployment. We have record number. There's 40 million jobs lost now. The state of Florida is going to be following that suit, and we're coming back, we're bouncing back. 50% of the businesses that shut down will not reopen. They're gone forever. So this unemployment for W-2 employees, and now, a few weeks back, they said, okay, 1099 employer or 1099 contractors also can file for unemployment. Talk about that impact and how that decision came about.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, sometimes our congressmen and women in Washington, they mean well, but when they dabble into an area like unemployment, every state has their own law and they have their own reasoning, in Florida, I'll be honest, it's one of the cheaper states before this virus. The most you could get was $275 a week. And that's not a lot. And it was limited to 12 weeks. Yeah. And there are special circumstances you could get it for 24, but now, you get $600 a week added to that. And right now, it's through the end of July, you'll get that $600. That's $2,400 a month, way more than the $275 a week that people who are in Florida were usually getting. And then now the Democrats, I not to get political, but I hope that doesn't ever pass the Senate, because they're talking about extending that $2,400 a month until January of 2021. We don't want to get to the point where people have incentive to remain unemployed.
Exactly.
That's not going to help us get back into the swing of things.
Yeah. And that's a challenge if they go that far out. If they go that far out, like some states I saw where some states, they're talking about college football season coming up. Oh, well, our state's not opening up, and we're already saying it's September or whatever date that was. First of all, why would you look that far out and have a negative, such a negative I agree. Chain of events. That's going to relay a chain of events. I think it was somewhere out west. So I think, it might have been like the Pac-10 or whatever it is out there, the Pac-West, the Pacific West Conference, one of those conferences out west. But now, does it make it fair because for example, the Southeastern Conference, they can play all of their teams, but this team couldn't play all their teams. And how does that rank? So now it gets into the upcoming football season as well with those decisions.
It's tough, man. It'll be interesting how it plays out. I'm happy to see that the NFL, at least for now, looks to be sticking to their schedule. We'll see if it plays out that way. But like your first caller you had on, it's definitely flexibility is key, because everything is changing. The hospitality industries. I heard that the Hard Rock is open. I don't know how they're managing that with casino games, and the players at the tables. They got to keep the six foot rule going. I mean, it's definitely flexibility is key because there's a lot of industries that are fizzling out and changing, and the pendulum is swinging all over the place here with this virus. And very, very difficult to stick with it all.
Yeah, and if you just joined us, we're talking with attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And he's available here in Tampa Bay, consultations. He can sit down with you, talk about different things happening throughout the business community, and he helps with, the work comp cases where there's situations where people are injured at work, on the job, or also potentially, any type of accident outside of that and injury law. Attorney Jason Kobal, local attorney, longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Reach out to our hotline if you'd like to be put in touch with any of our expert contributors that you heard of. Clyde Smith, General Manager, Bilmar Beach Resort, Jason, attorney Jason Kobal, and also Scott Goss here. You can reach out to our hotline, 813-670-7372, 670-7372. And Jason, when you look at where we're at right now, what do you see happening in the next 4 or 5 weeks in terms of?
Well,
yeah,
I'm glad you asked that, because one thing that's right around the corner, and I know there's people that realize it because they're dealing with it, but the governor, DeSantis, he issued an order that paused all evictions, that nobody could get evicted. That's actually up July 2nd. So that's in about 6 days. A bunch of people are going to be getting kicked out of their residences, and it's unfortunate, but he wasn't able to extend that. So for the people that were protected during the virus, and it's unfortunate, with the unemployment was slow getting people the money, and then they're behind on their rent, and you get a couple months behind, then poof, next thing you know, you're looking at an eviction notice. That was all frozen. But
all right, Jason, we're going to come into a hard break here. We're going to come back. I'm going to pick it up right there on the foreclosure, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com. All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. If you served, you save. We save you money when you're buying real estate, selling real estate here. Any of our first responders, military, veterans. We also have opened that up to nurses, doctors, and teachers as well. We'd love to help you, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty here in Tampa Bay. Buying, selling, or investing, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. We got a lot of vacant land available for you. Our producer, Rob, is going to scroll through some of our vacant land listings here, but we've got, some great opportunities, residential or commercial opportunities. 1401 Seminole Boulevard, that's a commercial opportunity, corner lot in Largo, Pinellas, Florida, great opportunity. 4207 Cox Drive in Land O'Lakes. This is a peninsula waterfront. We actually have an offer on that property that we're negotiating right now. Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes. This is a $1.1 million listing, 4214 Peaceful Lane in Land O'Lakes, waterfront on Bell Lake. 8 lots right on the lake here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Great opportunities for both commercial and residential vacant land here in Tampa Bay. And we also have Harbor Drive in Clearwater, right next to the Pinellas Trail. You can shoot via boat right out into Upper Tampa Bay, and the Clearwater Beach is right there as well. KETCH Court, Tarpon Springs, vacant land, high-end community. Right across the street is a $2.5 million property that I'm going to be listing here very soon, kind of a pocket listing that we've got. North Point Alexis Drive, Tarpon Springs. You can buy a lot in this community from $39,000. Great opportunities to be surrounded by high net worth individuals, families, and also beautiful properties here in Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. platinummvpteam.kw.com. And this segment is brought to you by Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Two Maids and a Mop. They do a great job cleaning our real estate properties, and they offer safe, reliable, professional grade cleaning, and also have a pay-for-performance plan. Reach out to our friends Tabitha and her team over at Two Maids and a Mop, the official cleaning partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, one of our favorite things to do is tell you something positive here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Every day we're going to tell you something good, and today is out of Rowan University, and Rowan is celebrating its first graduate who has Down syndrome. Anna Rose is a member of Rowan University's class of 2020. She's the first college graduate who has Down syndrome. She carried a 3.426 GPA and Bachelor of Arts in Radio and Television, Film, and a minor in journalism. And her mother, Lynn Rubright, said, when she decides to do something, she goes all the way. Quote, she wanted to go to college like her friends and just to make her dream reality, so she did. Rowan University says students like Anna Rose are held to the same standard as every other student, and their courses are not watered down. They have the same expectations to complete and pass the course. College students with disabilities, out of Forbes, this is a quote out of Forbes, college students with disabilities are more likely to drop out of school, and only 34% complete a 4-year program, according to Forbes magazine. And quote, there were times when I just watched her in frustration. I watched her struggle, and I said, you have an associate's degree. You can be done if you want. You've already done so much, Lynn Rubright said, but she wouldn't quit. There's our feel-good story of the day. Awesome. I love those uplifting stories teed up there on the Consumer Quarterback Show. All right, we're going to go back to attorney Jason Kobal, Kobal Law here in Tampa Bay. So one of the things we covered in the past as well, Jason, is the post-traumatic stress disorder, and some of the first responders now for example, like the Pulse nightclub that happened in Orlando, those folks that are responding to those scenes previously were not allowed to file for work comp. Is that right?
That is right.
Yeah.
That just passed legislation about a year ago. And what it did was, in the past, you needed a corresponding physical injury in order to have a psych claim or for PTSD or any psychiatric condition. And then what this law change did, it changed that requirement for first responders. So, members of law enforcement or emergency technicians that saw horrific things, like whether they're attending to dead bodies at the Pulse nightclub or stuff that they've experienced during the heat of the moment when it was all going down or what have you. That PTSD claims clearly could have developed and arisen from such a situation or experience like that. And it was great that law went into effect, and that gave benefits to those people, even though they didn't have a corresponding physical injury. So in the past, it wasn't possible. But what's very interesting now is that was limited to the first responders, and it has a specific definition. Well, now the governor passed an order for the COVID, where basically if you are working at a supermarket or you're working for Amazon or delivery company, those types of employment are considered the first line of defense, basically. And those people, if you get the virus and you can at all tie it to your employment, you get workers' comp benefits. And they've been very liberal about providing those. I actually got my first client about a week ago, and we're just getting the paperwork all together, making sure that person got everything they deserved under the new law. But what'll be interesting is if somebody develops PTSD from the virus, or I could see that happening. Being a nurse at the emergency room or physician's assistant, and seeing all the death and the terrible experiences that people are going through, suffering from this virus, where they could develop PTSD without a corresponding physical injury. So it'll be interesting how those two new laws merge, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of litigation regarding those two. Anytime there's a new law change, then the lawyers, they find a way to look at the caveats, and there'll be all kinds of case law interpreting both of those new laws.
Yeah, Jason, and we had last week we had on the show it was a family law attorney talking about how they are dealing with both juries, judges, and jurors when they're looking at via Zoom and depositions via Zoom. Have you been dealing with Zoom in your trials?
Yes. Yeah. So far, all of my trials that I had scheduled since the virus hit have been postponed. I do have one coming up in a couple weeks, and right now it's set up as normal. I don't know what they're going to do. I know in Texas they just tried out their first Zoom jury trial, and I didn't read the details of how that went, but I mean that is totally different. There's one thing in our system that we all get our day in court, and you get to appear before a jury of your peers, but that might not be the case. I mean, we'll have to see. But yeah, right now, depositions, mediations, everything's being done via Zoom.
Yeah, I think one of our attorneys mentioned that one of the jurors got busted for taking a phone call during their.
Yeah, that was the Texas one. Yep, I just read that. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So you think they're getting their full attention, but they're probably not.
Right. And even I was reading about, I don't know what state it is. I know it's not Florida. Florida in July, they're going forward with the regular bar exam with requirements. They're going to, each student's going to have to get their temperature taken. Anybody over 100.4 doesn't get to get in. But I was reading, they were talking about doing Zoom, doing the bar exam online. But that, I mean, what do you do when someone goes up to use the restroom? They could have a book in there and be cheating. So it's convenient, but then you got to think there's a lot of factors that come into play and whether that's feasible or not. But yeah, right now everything is Zoom, and so far so good. But like I said, I haven't had a trial yet. We'll have to see how that plays out in the next couple of weeks.
Well, we had Doug Levi on the show yesterday, and he was talking about insurance is granting the insurance commission or whoever governs that is granting for temporary. For people that are getting their insurance licenses without having to, finalize the process. Since you can't go in person, they're temporarily allowing them to practice insurance.
So they fast tracked that then.
Yeah, fast tracked, exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Yep.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. So we're talking with Jason Kobal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. The website is tampaworkcomplaw.com. Is that your best site? Tampa Work Comp? Okay. So Jason Kobal Law here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. What else do you think is topical right now? I mean, there's so many things that are happening. It's very fluid, as we mentioned. What do you think else is topical right now, Jay?
Well, it's even people don't realize, even in the legal community, everything's changing. Like, for example, for work, I do workers' comp is one of my areas of expertise. I'm worried about file count just because, there's a lot of in Florida, whether it's, Disney, we're all into entertaining and people coming down here on vacation and travel has come to a halt.
Yep.
So that those industries are having to lay people off left and right. And I mean, you just look at Disney not operating, that's thousands of employees. And if they're not working, they're not getting hurt. So, it'll be interesting how that impacts workers' comp cases over the next couple of years. So, just like your other expert contributor said, you really got to be flexible. That's why I'm happy to do multiple different types of work, because there's lawyers. Also, another field I heard that's get hit is criminal defense law. There's a lot of criminal defense lawyers that are now looking to become civil lawyers. So no matter what industry you're in, even the legal community, it involves some flexibility because, man, times are changing whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's right. And we just heard as well, Clyde was mentioning from the Bilmar Beach Resort, he was mentioning Allegiance Air flying into St. Pete Clearwater Airport. So some flight travel, very limited traveling going on throughout the country. But yeah, you definitely got to understand where things are moving to, be ready to adapt and try to do it as quickly as you can.
Yep, that's it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we got about a minute left here, Jason. Parting words of advice for our listeners out there, viewers.
Sure. I did just get a new case today, a slip and fall over a terrible sidewalk. So now we're gonna have to go after the municipality that has to maintain that particular area, which brings in sovereign immunity. There's limitations on how much we can get, even how much I can charge. But just remember, anytime you have a situation where you trip and fall and hurt yourself, make sure you take a lot of pictures because. Yep. In a trip and fall situation, we not only have to prove that what you tripped over was dangerous, that they were negligent, but we have to prove that they knew about it. And usually, if you take a lot of pictures, say, of a banged up sidewalk, you can tell if it's something
thanks
new.
So much, Jason. I appreciate it. We got coming into our show. Great job today. Appreciate you. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time